The reading for today is from Ernest Holmes. He says, "Any account of creation, however brief, implies, first of all, a universal intelligence, which is omniscient, all-knowing. We call this intelligence God. In philosophy, the word reality is used. In science, the word principle. The reality of philosophy, the principle of science, and the God of religion all have much the same meaning, the nature of the universe in which we live. We describe it as God, spirit, reality, truth, absolute intelligence." And so it is.
Wow, January 5th, the first Sunday in January in 2020. I have to keep saying that to myself, 2020. Otherwise you write it wrong on the checks and you know all that stuff. Now, traditionally, this month is an opportunity for us to return to our roots, to the teachings of the science of mind. A teaching that Ernest Holmes says is the combination of philosophy, science, and spirituality. A teaching that Ernest Holmes calls a way of life rather than a religion. Now, in fact, many centers all across the world are taking an opportunity this January to take a deeper dive into the underlying principles of science of mind. Am I going out again a little bit today? Now, my life has been forever changed by the teachings of science of mind, and I don't know about all of you, but I do know about some of you. And like me, your lives have also been forever changed. Now, we got an amen from the back. Now, how this shows up for me is that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that there is a power and presence that is within me and surrounding me. A power and presence that I am always connected to, that is always ready, willing, and able to support me and to guide me. I now have a personal relationship with this divine presence, a relationship that I did not have prior to stepping into my first Center for Spiritual Living, Agape, in Los Angeles, California. I now have spiritual practices and tools that I can use to deepen and expand that relationship, such as meditation, contemplation, visioning, and prayer. After learning about and practicing all these different spiritual practices, I now have the ability to co-create a life that I absolutely love. A life that is filled with love and peace and joy and meaning and purpose. What I know about science of mind is that it is a very practical philosophy and a way of life that is available to all. And that if we actually practice its teachings, then we can and will all experience amazing shifts and changes in our lives. Our theme for January is getting grounded to the basics, and my talk title today is In the Beginning, God. Now, here at the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living, we believe that there is one power and one presence in the universe. Now, I happen to call it God, but it goes by many different names. Spirit, love, life, first cause, the absolute, consciousness, and sometimes nothing at all. Now, it has been said that the starting point for spiritual realization is a right understanding of the one designated as the Almighty. Now, but I would venture to believe that for as many names as we have for this power and presence, that there are even many ways to describe it. Now, I think that each of us, while probably arriving on the planet with the same awareness of God or of this power and presence, that we began to very quickly to be taught to absorb and to believe whatever it was that our parents thought and said and believed about God. That our specific cultures or our specific races or our specific religions or lack of religion spoke volumes about what they believed God was, and that we really began to buy into that at a really early age. I grew up in a family that did not have a very firm religious or spiritual structure. Now, while the good news was that didn't leave me with a lot of baggage around this idea of God, what it did leave me with was a big, deep, dark hole in the center of my being that I was trying to fill from the outside in for much of my life. Many here today grew up with an idea of God that didn't feel right to them, that didn't resonate with them, even as a very young child. You may have even left the church of your family and ultimately found your way here to the Triangle Center of Spiritual Living because something within you wanted more from life. Joel Goldsmith says the hardest part of your spiritual journey is to rise above the concepts of God that you have accepted. Whether your concept as God has come from a church, from your parents, or from your own experiences in life, regardless of where or how you acquired your particular concept of God, and regardless of what that concept may be, it is not God. There is nothing that you know about God that is God. There is no idea of God that you can entertain that is God. So it really makes no difference whatever idea we have or whatever concept we have, because it still remains just an idea or just a concept. An idea or a concept is not God. It is just something that is pointing to God, pointing in the direction of God, but not God itself. So rather than continuing to ask or trying to explain what God is, the invitation is to simply rest in the acknowledgement that God is. Period. Now, when we look at the beauty and the abundance of nature, the orderly movement of the sun and the stars and the tides, or the unfailing rotation of the seasons, or the amazing wisdom that is contained within our human bodies, how could there not be some kind of spiritual or supreme intelligence that is back of all of it? How could there not be? We have 10 core concepts in the science of mind. And the first core concept says all creation originated in the one Spirit. God is all that there is. So in the beginning, God, and out of that God substance came everything else. It could really be no other way because there was nothing else. In the beginning, God. Ernest Holmes says, we believe in the incarnation of the Spirit in all people, and that all people are incarnations of the one Spirit. So therefore, we believe that each human being is a creation of God, made out of God's substance, a unique and individualized manifestation of the one. This essence, this power is in everything and everyone. If God is all there is, then absolutely everything and everyone is an incarnation of the One. No one and no thing is left out. And not just a little bit of God over here and a little bit of God over there, but like a hologram. All of God in its wholeness, in its completeness, in its fullness, everywhere at all times. Ernest Holmes says something. We believe in the unity of all life, that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. So God is not some man in a long white beard outside of ourselves, but a presence, a power, an energy, a consciousness within us, within all of life. There is only God. Ernest Holmes says, we believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling God. So God is within us and surrounds us. We are immersed in it, and it flows through us. Through our own intuition, each person perceives and directly reveals God. So we perceive, through our own intuition, we perceive God, and then we directly reveal God. We don't have to borrow any light from anyone or anything else. It is already within us. I've always loved the image that I believe that Augustine first brought forth. That God is a sphere whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere. Joel Goldsmith says, if the center is everywhere, it must be where I am. Could this be the meaning of omnipresence? A point of life and light, present everywhere as each individualized expression. If this is true, then I am a center of God. It is an audacious thought with a sacrilegious tone. And yet, can a geographical center be otherwise in a dynamic and expanding universe? Every point in this sphere, which is God, is thus a bubbling forth of the infinite flow of life. Beautiful. Gotta love me some Joel Goldsmith. Wow, right where I am, right where you are, right where we all are, God is. In truth, this is not my life, it is not your life, it is not our life, but God's life being experienced in our own unique and individualized way. Ernest Holmes says we believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. The eternal givingness, not just at the time that we arrived on the planet, but eternally, always present and always available. It has always been so, and it will always be so. God plays no favorites, but gives to all. It is not judgmental. It is not capricious. It gives itself to everyone in equal measure, in accordance with what we believe. It is done unto you as you believe. Joel Goldsmith says, when you acknowledge that this universe has a creative principle, a cause, a something that sent it into expression and form, and that maintains that expression, that relieves you individually of all responsibility. You can rest assured that which is maintaining the integrity of all nature can maintain the integrity of your and my individual life. This then speaks to an eternal presence, a benevolent presence, a supportive presence, a loving presence. It speaks to a power and presence that is within us that sustains us, a power and presence that is closer than our very breath, ever available, always willing to give us the kingdom of heaven on earth. What we believe is that spirit is an intelligence that operates through the entire cosmos, that it is everything and all things. There is not a spot where God is not. I'm absolutely sure that when I am seeing the face of God in the beauty of a sunrise or a sunset, in a sense of peace and expansion that I feel in a moment of meditation, in the vastness of the stars in the evening sky, or in the view from the top of the Grand Canyon. I am absolutely sure that I am seeing the face of God in the miracle of the birth of a baby, or in the way that I don't even have to think about breathing, in a song whose melody or lyrics really fills my entire being and drops me to my knees, or when I receive answers from within myself for the questions that I have. I could go on, and I know that each and every person sitting here, each and every person at home watching on live streaming has their own list. And the really amazing thing about that is that whenever we even think about that list, that the feeling that comes up in us is the same feeling that we had when we were smack dab in the middle of that experience itself. We can call forth that exact same feeling. That is the presence of God. For myself, I don't need approval or agreement from philosophy or from science or from any other voice that God is real. I simply know it. There are some things that need to be known through the heart and not through the intellect. There are some things that need to be known through experience and not through reason. Ernest Holmes says, "The divine spirit is not a mythical, abstract being living somewhere above this earth. God is a divine presence revealing himself to everyone who believes. Where God is recognized, there is life. Where the presence of God is realized, there is action. When the goodness of God is acknowledged, there is peace." The bottom line is that there is a universal mind, spirit, intelligence that is the origin of everything. Everything is swimming within that universal mind. There is one life that is back of it all and that energizes everything. It is that which breathes us, animates us, supports us, and guides us. This universal life finds an inlet and an outlet through all that it has created. The life that we live is this universal life expressing through us, expressing through each of us individually and collectively, is how the divine actually experiences life on earth. Through us and as us in our own uniqueness. Every longing, every yearning, every desire that we have ever had is a whispering of this life seeking to be expressed. We are a manifestation of it, a personification of it, a hologram of it, and an ambassador of all that it is. We are a center where life becomes a definite, distinctive individualization of itself. So I leave you today with a personal ad. Since we're talking about God, a personal ad from God. This was written by Reverend Dr. David Alt. "Long walks on the beach are fine, but I'm willing to go anywhere with you. To your job, to the supermarket, to babysit your grandkids. Am content to tag along as you do laundry, file your taxes, or keep your chemotherapy appointment. Any ethnicity will do. I do not care. I feel we are all the same anyway. Your economic background does not in any way influence my desire to be with you. Am well traveled, been everywhere, literally. And we'd be happy to share those adventures with you if you like. I have an ability to see beyond surface conditions and am not influenced by the opinions of others. Therefore, I am ready and willing to accept your physical body just as it is and just as it is not, and even love and appreciate it. Hopefully, I can guide you to do the same. Of course, I would love it if you acknowledged my handiwork from time to time. I'm pretty great in the creativity department, and I will neither judge you nor abandon you if you get too busy to notice. I am keenly aware of your creativity also. Any hesitancy or fear you have concerning the expression of it, well, I can help you with that if you would like. I'm not at all threatened by your growth or your success. I thrive on it. I am your biggest cheerleader. I do not care about your past. And when I say not care, it doesn't mean that I fail to honor your journey and all the things that you have accomplished. I'm simply not interested in your mistakes, however extensive or small. What I'm saying with all of this is that I am looking for a long-term relationship and totally willing to go at the pace and level that you are comfortable with. I am available 24/7, and my support and belief in you knows no boundaries and no restrictions. Give the two of us a shot. I guarantee you will not regret it. In the beginning, in the middle, and in the end, God. And so it is. So I invite you to turn within for a moment. With my eyes closed and my attention turned inward, I am acutely aware of that which we have been talking about this morning. That power and presence that I call God, that divine spark of itself that is within each of us. That soup that we are swimming in. I know that each of us is connected to it in ways that can never be broken, that golden thread of God's stuff that weaves itself throughout all of life is permanent. We can never be separated from it. We can forget about it for a moment, but always it is there within us, seeking to be recognized, seeking to be expressed, seeking to be acknowledged, secretly seeking to be aligned with this power and presence that supports us, guards us, animates us, breathes us. Goodness is peace, is joy itself, is who we really are. And grace for us around recognizing this truth, around powerfully stepping into it in our lives, knowing that we all can live lives that we absolutely love to live by recognizing this presence, by aligning with this presence, by expressing and allowing this presence to express through us, by bringing it forward in all arenas of our lives, in all of our relationships. We, our community, and the world would be forever changed by this thing, this simple thing that we can do. And I'm so grateful to know this truth and to speak these words. So grateful for the power that these words are loosed into a law that only ever says yes, that they are clothed in form even as they are spoken. And so I speak them and release them with love and gratitude and full expectation of their manifestation. Letting go and letting God be God, I invite each of us to anchor these words for ourselves and for each other, for our community and for the world, simply by saying, and so it is, and so it is. Amen. Thank you all.